Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 3 in the series between EG's Team Liquid, EGTL versus, I believe, Quantic. Game 3 taking place here on Ohana, as the blue Terran player is center, I believe, playing for some reason under Barcode. So Barcode Man here versus Hero, the red Protoss. Terran versus Protoss once more, and I am curious to see what's going to be going down between these players, as we already see a rather early probe making its way out from Hero. So Hero wanting to figure out what his opponent is doing and what he can be expecting. Now Hero in game 2 played extremely well, almost baiting an attack from Apocalypse, and then was able to clean it up, as Hero now on the board for EGTL. So far the probe gonna just come in for a little bit of a zap, get some easy damage onto the SCV, as the SCV now coming back over as well. What's gonna be happening here? A new SCV now brought over, and that probe now simply just running back home. So far, Gateway now warping in. Hero going to be going ahead and establishing that gas. I do believe Hero will stick to the same build and place down a second assimilator. If you remember in the previous game, he did go for 2 assimilators, placing this pylon a little bit tucked out of the way as well. And then he only put 2 probes on each assimilator. Very smart move, as we now see that this probe may actually get taken down by this SCV. If this SCV can come around in time, builds a supply depot, and this probe is now stuck. Alright, this probe stuck inside the base, wanting to go home, but its mommy will not be coming. The Mothership core still got some time before it's completed, as the probe still doing a little bit of a dance in and around this base. A Reaper, however, is now being trained, and that Reaper could go after that probe in a hurry and then try and scout out. The problem, however, is going to be that Hero is going to have a Mothership core most likely in order to intercept that Reaper. So that Reaper will be there for purely, scouting purposes, as that probe now taken down, that SCV taken within 1 hit point of its life and somehow saved. So repaired for 1 hit point and now able to stick around. Alright, Reaper now making its way down. All this Reaper can really hope to do is scout to see if there is an expansion. It will see that there is an expansion and go, you know what, we are going to be playing a bit of a macro game. I am completely fine with that, as the Reaper now walks up onto the high ground, takes a couple of attacks from that Mothership core, and will be most likely retreating. Meanwhile, what is the Terran player transitioning into now? He is going into a reactor on the barracks. There is a factory being built off over here, and a front and a command center that will lift off and land here in just a moment. Double training of Marines, perhaps to protect against any Mothership core harassment. Always very important, as that Mothership core does open up a number of different builds for Protoss players. Blink Stalkers from the low ground onto the high ground here, one of those options, and you do definitely need Marines to handle the Mothership core and Marauders to handle those Stalkers. Meanwhile, what is this? We are now going into a very fast factory and now starport as well. Are we going to be looking at a Widow Mine drop? That does seem to be the case, but I am curious as to how center the Terran player is going to be able to defend against any harassment. So far, Hero isn't opening up with any types of units, and that may actually be good for center. You can take a look, very heavy tech. Terran players generally have a difficult time trying to take their natural expansion. If they tech too quickly, they are not able to get enough units out onto the field. Marines are simply very fragile, and the Mothership core, this could be very bad for the Mothership core if it doesn't scout these Marines in time. This is going to be painful, as the Marines now making their way over. Is it going to be able to shoot it down? No, it is not. The Mothership core, actually makes its way over, and there's the Time Warp baiting all of those Marines. And that was a beautiful bait, I must say, taking down 3 Marines already, only for shield damage and a little bit of Mothership core damage. So far, Hero really winning out in this micro war. And that was a huge play by Hero. 400 resources lost versus 150. You can take a look at this. Stalker, 18 points of damage. This Mothership core, what, 65 points of damage, or 55 points of damage. Yes, I can do math. After taking down a handful of Marines. So beautifully done, as we're now looking at the establishment, or the establishing of the expansion here at the 12 o'clock position. All right, Hero. Now, just trying to get up his bases. 39 workers versus 34. Widow mines are going to be dropping inside the base, and this is potentially game changing. There you go. There's one Widow mine. It is going to burrow. Are we going to perhaps see another Widow mine burrow in time? It does burrow in time, and takes down a handful of workers there, and that was beautifully done. 7 workers killed. Harvester count 38 to 38. The Mothership core getting the photon overcharge, but not enough, as we now see the probes making their way back down to the natural expansion. Meanwhile, observers are keenly placed around the map, and we are now going into a heavier Marauder production than I would have imagined. We are also going into a reactor as well, so if we see Marauder, actually no, this is most likely for medevacs, but we could see Marauder Hellbats, and Marauder Hellbats on paper and in theory should be very, very effective against a Stalker Zealot. Let's see if that will be the case here, as the medevac now trying to do a quick flyby. All right, there is the burrow, and is it going to get any damage off? And it looks like it will. Another 6 or another 3 workers killed. The Stalker now finally making its way over. Observer will scout it out, but the damage has been done. All right. Observer now scouting around the far side off to the north. What is it going to see? What is it going to scout out? What is going on here? Observer now just making its rounds, as we see Marines and Marauders doing a bit of a push down the center here. All right, the Marines could take down the Stalker, but the Stalker is going to be able to just get away in time. We can see a rather small army in terms of supply, 27 compared to 42, but that is the power of warp gates. You can train up a whole bunch of units and place them in the field at a moment's notice. All right, Hero is sitting on 4 warp gates. That's an 8 supply difference at a moment's notice, as we now have Hero scouting out the establishing of this 1 o'clock expansion here. So it is going to be 3 bases to 2, and this is forcing Hero in a rather uncomfortable position. Hero would like to take an expansion of his own, but he knows that he is down in army. Now, if these Marines can perhaps take down the probe here, there it goes. Perhaps take down some some proxy pylons as well, deal some damage here, while Hero buys time inside his own base for Colossi and upgrades. All right, let's take a look at this. 4 medevacs, Marines, and Marauders. Another engagement here. 1 Zealot chasing after Marines, as we are about to finish combat shield, level 1 armor upgrades, and also concussive shells. It doesn't look like Center. Nope, I take it back. It looks like Center does think that this is the right time to strike, and he is going to be moving forward with this Marauder Marine army. Is it going to be enough? Force fields quickly come down. The medevacs pick up the units. 1 Marine left behind. And now all these units will simply be dropped. Stalkers are here. Colossi, Zealots are in position. Extended thermal land trains. Zealot charge now coming in as well. This Marine doesn't stand a chance, but he is going to hold his post and know when exactly the rest of the army has arrived. Here we go. Observers still keenly placed across the map, being able to keep track of the Marauders and the Marines. Marines are currently upgraded 1-0 against, I believe, 1-1 upgraded Zealots and Colossi. That is going to be very, very dangerous, even with a 30 supply advantage for the Terran player. All right, Terran Bio now making its way forward. It looks like Hero is going to be pushing everything he has into this next fight. He knows that he cannot get up his base fast enough. He knows that his workers are down. He would not even be able to saturate a 3rd base, even if he had established one. So he is just dumping everything into his army, into his tech, hoping that he can pull out a miracle like he did in Game 2. Now, the problem this time around, not as many sentries, only 2 sentries this time, And with those 2 sentries, perhaps he can double wall the ramp here. Meanwhile, you can see that there is an observer positioned here. Oh, it is going to get scanner sweeped and destroyed. Not exactly sure how the Terran player knew about that one observer there, but it is going to force Stalkers to hold position here, perhaps expecting a drop. There is an observer here as well. It looks like Center thinks that to himself, as long as I have maximum supply, as long as I have a near maximum supply, I am going to be in a good position, as the Vikings now are going to be making their way forward. All right, what's going to be happening next? Vikings going to shoot down Colossi. The 3rd base is finally coming in from Hero. He knows that he needs to take it. And what is going to be happening? There is an observer now out in front. Medevacs are here as well. Vikings now getting into position. And here we go. We could have a bit of an engagement as the Marauders and the Marines are going back and forth. All right, Medevacs now going to be perhaps dropping inside the main base. Where is that boost? It is coming in right now. And there you go. Feedback onto one of the medevacs, 2 of the medevacs. Beautiful, beautiful hits as we're now taking a look at the Marauders and the Marines. They are not storming up that ramp. The Colossi, the Marauders and the Marines are now trying to pull as far back inside the main base so that Hero cannot come back over here. Psystorm now coming in. No Colossi for those Vikings to target down. And Hero looking very, very strong, able to defend multiple locations at once. Beautifully done, and a little bit of a lucky break not moving those Colossi there, but the problem is he is still running on 2 bases, with one of those bases nearly mining out. The income is showing a different story. 1800 versus 1500. That is 300 minerals a minute. That is 3 zealots a minute, and that is going to be perhaps the tipping point. Hero, he's been playing well. You can take a look. Center has lost more units in these engagements, but Hero, I do not believe, will be able to withstand the full economic backing of this Terran army. Marauders and Marines now making their way over here. Going to take down a Zealot or 2. No, decide not to, as there are Colossi here. Stalkers are going to engage. Colossi are ready to go. Zealots are going to perhaps make their way off to the north. We can now see 3-2 upgrades have been started. 2-2 upgrades will be completed here in just a second, as the Vikings are still trying to make something happen. They need to catch those Colossus perhaps out of position. You know that Colossi are a much slower unit than those Stalkers, but then the High Templars could land a Psystorm as well. All right, Nexus is nearing completion. If this Nexus falls again, that is pretty much going to be end of it. Catching a couple of units out of position there. The Marauders and the Marines go, you know what? I don't need to engage against your army. I just need to take down this building and delay your economy for another minute or so. Stalkers trying to engage. Probes making their way over. That was a bad idea, as the Nexus has gone down. Vikings going after the Mothership core. It's gone down. Psystorm now coming in. Zealots and Probes trying to retreat. Vikings finally finding their Colossi targets, taking them down ever so slowly but surely, as the Marauders and the Marines are now pushing up that ramp. All right, this is good positioning for Hero, but is it good enough for a 60 supply differential? The Marauders now making their way forward, gonna go focus down to Colossus. Only 1 Colossus is left. Archons now trying to merge in the battlefield. Another Psystorm comes down, but with so many medevacs, this is looking very good for the Terran player. And Hero now down 70 supply. Meanwhile, back over here, Zealots trying to clean up. We are going to be getting a round of units. Marauders now coming in as well. Going to finish off all of these Zealots here. And Hero now down to 39 supply. Another orbital command could be coming in just a moment. Marauders and Marines now ready to go. Stalkers, Colossi, High Templars in position. Hero, every step of the way, has been trading fairly efficiently, but he has just fallen behind economically. He does not have an extra base. The Zealots now trying to make something happen. 3 Zealots going to town on all of these SCVs, but I believe Center can simply walk up and attack the front door now with a 2-to-1 advantage. This Nexus trying to come up for the 3rd time. All right, there's the scanner sweep. What's going to be happening? Are there Vikings, Marauders, and the Marines coming in here? Going to go and focus down 1 High Templar, 2nd High Templar. Marauders and the Marines are now very, very far in the back. Psystorm does come in, but too little, too late, it appears, as the Vikings are now going after the Colossi. Still coming at it. The Vikings now just chasing down those Colossi, and I believe that will be it. This Nexus will be canceled again for a 3rd time, And now with 100 supply difference, is it going to be enough? Colossi now engaging Psystorm. All the units are splitting apart. There you go. Hellbats going after all of those Zealots, Marauders, and Marines coming in. Vikings now finally going into ground mode. And that is the GG. Hero loses game 3 here for his team. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.